Coming up, the airplanes are in place and the jumpers are ready to go. How the world plans to mark 75 years since D-Day.
Another famous YouTuber takes your sweepstakes Super Cub for a spin.
And sipping in all the Livermore area has to offer. AOPA Live this week begins in just a moment.
This is AOPA Live This Week with Tom Haynes and Melissa Redinger.
In 1 week, the largest flight of C-47s, C-53s, and DC-3s since D-Day will be aloft over the English Channel and headed for France.
They call it Dax Over Normandy. 75 years ago, more than 830 Dakotas, what the British called the C-47 Skytrain, flew out ahead of the Allied invasion force to drop paratroopers behind the German beach defenses. Dakotas like these. The Dakota, or C-47, was the military version of the DC-3, stripped of seats and insulation so it could carry more. These aircraft are of the D-Day Squadron, the U.S. contribution to the Dax Over Normandy. They are the greatest generation of men and airplanes who began the liberation of Europe. Some 15 D-Day Squadron aircraft are now in England or very close.
It's actually the same route that was used in World War II. So we will be leaving here and going to northern Canada, Goose Bay, and then we'll go on to Narsarsuaq, which is the southern tip of Greenland, famously called Bluey West 1, and then on to Reykjavik, Iceland, and then Prestwick, Scotland, and then ultimately to the Imperial War Museum at Duxford, England.
They'll be at the museum by June 4th, and then a mass takeoff with paratroopers to reenact the beginning of the Normandy invasion.
So when you take off every time, you kind of look around and you say, well, these rivets around me, they actually flew across the channel 75 years ago. It's extraordinarily rewarding. We're really bringing a great group of people together for a great reason. You know, again, to remember our veterans and also to really provide some level of context for where we are as a nation.
So what's it like to fly a DC-3 or C-47? We asked the pilot of That's All Brother. This is the actual aircraft that led the D-Day formation. It was discovered in a boneyard and the Commemorative Air Force restored it to its original D-Day configuration. Doug Rosendahl flew the first test flight and is the chief pilot.
DC-3 is a glorious flying airplane and it'll do anything as long as you ask it. But if you start trying to throw it around, pushing and pulling and kicking and shoving, it'll fight back. And it's just an airplane you have to come to terms with. You know, you have to learn to speak its language and be patient and, you know, put in some input, maybe a lot of input, but then just wait for a little bit and pretty soon, you know, just on final today, we got into some wake turbulence and I pushed the rudder all the way to the stop and nothing happened. But pretty soon it started coming back and, you know, before it gets to where you want it, you let off and again, it's a very elegant airplane.
But she won't tolerate ham-fisted pilots. You have to be gentle on the throttles, and she's slippery. She slows down reluctantly.
If you plan ahead and you know how to ask the old girl to do what you want it to do, it all works out fine.
So an interesting story about how this aircraft came to be restored.
It is, you know, it almost got converted into a turbine version, a turboprop, and so it was amazing that they discovered what it was and were able to raise the funds to restore it and then get it over there, too. That's pretty amazing.
It's an amazing story.
Yep. Some are calling it the summer from hell. It'll make you glad that you fly a general aviation airplane. Bloomberg News says the Boeing 737 MAX grounding and the diversion of TSA agents to the southern border will mean summer flight delays and airport chaos. Nearly 3 million people a day are going to be cramming into those long tubes. Problem is that for 3 of the 4 major airlines, they have fewer tubes. And I mean airliners because of the 737 grounding. United alone will cancel some 2,400 flights in June and July, and the Department of Homeland Security is planning to transfer as many as 400 airport screeners to the southern border. Better get to the airport early, very early.
And if you happen to be fortunate enough to fly your own jet to avoid the airlines, keep a lookout for contaminated jet fuel. AOPA's Air Safety Institute issued a safety notice after engine failures in 2 Citation jets. The engines flamed out due to fuel contaminated with diesel exhaust fluid, or DEF. When DEF is accidentally added to Jet A, it can clog the fuel filters, causing fuel starvation. The Air Safety Institute is asking pilots to check with their fuel providers about the procedures for managing fuel additives and want pilots to be aware of the issue. If you're flying a turbine aircraft and experience a flameout, recognize the potential for DEF contamination. If DEF is the culprit, successful restart is unlikely and expect the loss of all engines. Find out more on our website.
It's the end of an era. The Red Bull Air Race will not continue past this year, and the Indianapolis date scheduled for this year will not be run. The series has been popular overseas, but never had the same level of interest in the U.S. AOPA Ambassador Michael Goulian competes as number 99 in the series. He and his team have made great advances in recent seasons. Michael and his team taking to social media to express their disappointment with the news. Coming up after the break, take a trip to the wineries near Livermore.
And a Volocopter port. We'll be right back.
Purchasing your own aircraft is an exciting experience. AOPA Finance simplifies the process, saving you money with lower interest rates and hassle-free loans, so you get into your new aircraft sooner. AOPA Finance, the right approach to buying an aircraft.
Welcome back. The AOPA Super Cub sweepstakes closes on May 31st. But it's getting a last hurrah on YouTube. Popular YouTuber Flight Chops stopped by our fly-in to Frederick. We sent him up in the Super Cub, and he made a great video about it.
Keep it clean for now. We'll just overfly the area clean, give it a good look over, and then if we want to make an approach, we'll dirty up and fly a pattern.
Okay, so maintain altitude?
Yep.
So I don't see any wires or towers or anything like that. I just see trees. Maybe there might be, if there was a windy day, we might have some turbulence to deal with, but I don't see any issues there. The water looks glassy, so I don't even think we have much to deal with wind. So do you guys practice landing on this?
No, I never have. It's usually not got this much water. It's only because of the recent rains.
All right.
It looks this way. Yeah, it really does.
All right, so want to just do like a left pattern over?
Yeah, let's do exactly that.
Okay, so just checking, clear left.
Like some campers down there. Isn't it just nice and crisp?
Beautiful, yeah. Like what is original on this thing? It all seems mint.
It's true. It's a
Just work
very few parts are original.
Just the airframe, and then they rebuilt all around it.
Even the airframe is new.
Oh, yeah, because it doesn't feel bent at all. It feels real straight.
Go ahead and slow us down to flap speed.
Okay, so there's the white arc. Here comes one notch.
Let's do our simulated landing with one notch.
Do I see it? Okay.
Yep. Go ahead and start your turn.
Oh, switch speed at the edge of the white arc there. A little fast here.
Yep. Well, we're gonna want that speed because we'll could just go ahead and add power, and we'll climb out.
Pretty cool in here, though.
It is.
Okay, the white arc gets the flaps in, and then.
Yep. Yeah, perfect. Looking good.
You can find the full video on YouTube. Just look for Flight Chops.
The eVTOL future is getting much closer. That's electric vertical takeoff and landing. This is the German Volocopter flying without a pilot during a test in Dubai. This week, Skyports and Volocopter announced that they're building the first mobile Voloport in Singapore. It's a prototype to test all aspects of an urban air transport system. Skyports say they are shaping the ecosystem around urban air mobility, and they say commercial urban air taxis are coming much sooner than most people think.
In Livermore Valley, California, wine is one of the main attractions. Beautiful vineyards dot the landscape. And if you're coming to the Livermore Fly-In in a few weeks, don't miss the opportunity to visit a winery for a tasting. AOPA Lives' Josh Cochran has the story about one of the local wineries and the pilot who owns it.
For Rhonda Wood, it's a love of the outdoors that drives her desire to fly and make wine.
One of the things I really like about winemaking is the winemaking begins in the vineyards right here. I like walking the vines and determining when to pick. And so a lot of it's outside, and you're kind of purveying the whole valley, and you're going all around, just like when you fly. I love to fly and, take a look over the land, and you just have gorgeous views, just like all pilots do. So that's probably one of the things why we like to fly so much, and it kind of correlates with winemaking.
For Rhonda, the love of flying came at an early age.
What made me interested in flying, I think I might have just always had it in me, because when in 6th grade I won the paper airplane contest, and I always think of that as, just loved flight.
That early love turned into a career with U.S. Airways. After several years flying, Rhonda took a leave of absence to start her family, which gave her the time to discover her passion for winemaking.
I started making wine when I was pregnant with my firstborn. I heard the old wives' tale that beer is good for the breast milk. Well, I figured homebrew had to be better, so I started brewing beer. As the kids got a little bit older, it's like, well, what am I doing brewing beer? I drink more wine than I do beer. I should be making wine. So I planted 18 grapevines in our backyard in Fremont, 9 Cabernet Sauvignon and 9 Zinfandel, with the intention of learning how to make wine. Before we got the grapes off the vines, which takes about 3 years, I saw this property for sale where we are right now in Livermore Valley, and I fell in love with it.
From there, Rhonda grew her business and now has a warehouse and tasting room on the east side of Livermore. And along with her business growth, now she gets to fly again.
And I'm able to go flying in general aviation and having a lot of fun just flying little airplanes now.
If you come to Livermore for the weekend, don't miss the opportunity to stop by Wood Family Vineyards for a tasting.
It's a very comfortable feeling. It's a lounge-like atmosphere. You can sit down and we'll come to you and bring the wine tasting to you. You don't have to stand at a bar or stand in line. We have a great team at our place, and I hope you will, come visit us and taste our wines.
Josh Cochran, AOPA Live.
If you're coming to the Livermore Fly-In, there will be an excursion to experience some of the local wineries in an iconic trolley. On the Taste of Livermore Wine Trolley Tour, you will take in the views of rolling hills covered in grapevines as you tour the valley. The tour will visit 3 top-rated wineries. Sign up for it at the AOPA Fly-In on our website.
It's like a lot of fun.
It does. I'm looking forward to it. Are you?
Well, I'm not going to make it to that.
Oh, that's right. You're going to be other places.
I'm going to be other places, so unfortunately I won't get to try the wine.
Well, I'll have some for you.
Okay, please do.
That's our show for this week. If you like it and you are watching it on YouTube, smash that like and subscribe button.
Comment below the YouTube video with any feedback you may have, or email us at aopalive@aopa.org. We like hearing from you. See you next week from Normandy for me.
There are many important things to consider before purchasing an aircraft. Let the experts at Aerospace Reports help guide you through the process. We combine expert knowledge with our long-standing commitment to personalized customer service to perfect your transaction. Learn more at aerospacereports.com.